If you watched a recent video, you know that I had a problem with this tank here right behind me where I had 3 Oscar cichlids. And if you look there, you don't see 3 Oscar cichlids, even though you might not be able to see the whole tank. There's actually 2 in there. So these 2 had paired off, they had spawned. They've done it again since then, although the eggs didn't last because I don't think they were fertile. But anyway, they've basically paired up and they were not having it with my other Oscar in there. So I had to make the decision to move that Oscar out of this tank and move him along because it wasn't going to work with those 3 in there together. So this isn't a clickbait video. It is true that I had to rehome that Oscar. That Oscar was named Ebony, and Ebony could no longer be in this tank because he was always kind of stuck in this corner here in this tank because the other Oscars were just bullying him and basically keeping him kind of tucked away in this like 1/3 of the tank, and if he tried to venture over, they'd kind of chase him back. Physically fine, no injuries or anything like that, just kind of harassing him, and I just couldn't let that happen. So he's not in this fish room anymore. But not to worry, he's actually right here in my living room. So for those of you that are familiar with these tanks here, this is a Tanganyika tank, and this used to be my Malawi peacock tank. But now it's the Oscar tank, so I ended up moving a bunch of fish around and put the Oscar in here just so that he could have his own space and be alone and not have to worry about all that aggression. So anyway, let's go back downstairs and we'll talk about what's going on down there. All right, we're back downstairs. You know now that I still have Ebony. He is now in the 75-gallon tank upstairs. And I've talked about Oscar tanks before and optimal tank size for an Oscar cichlid. And I've always shared that 75 gallons is kind of like the minimum or larger. Now, people do keep them in 55-gallon tanks, and that might be fine in some instances, and that might be fine if the fish is not very big. But if you have a larger Oscar that's going to get, 11, 12, 13 plus inches long, you might want to consider getting a larger aquarium just so that the fish has more space. But anyway, so down here, you can see to my left, your right, that we have the Malawi cichlids down here, the peacocks. Now, I always had peacocks in this tank for a long time, and but if you look closely and you notice, there's actually different fish in there. So what I did is I actually took out about, I forgot exactly how many, but it was over 30 of some of the peacocks in there, rehomed those, and kept some of the larger colorful males and a couple of the females in there that I liked the way they looked. I kept them in this tank and then added the fish from upstairs down into this aquarium. So now this tank right here is all Malawi peacocks as before, but some of them are much bigger than they were in the past, but there are fewer, even though it does seem more crowded. There's about 20 less fish in there. They're just bigger fish. This is an overstocked tank, so before people start talking about this tank is overstocked and there's too many fish in there, yes, I do realize that is overstocked, and I've talked about why we overstock African cichlid tanks, and it is very common in the cichlid keeping hobby to overstock African cichlids, primarily peacocks or mbuna, because of aggression, and it makes a single fish less likely to be targeted because there's so much chaos in that aquarium. So it is overstocked. I've got plenty of filtration. This one is one of 2 tanks down here in this fish room that is running on a canister. There's an FX4 in there, as well as 123 Aquarium Co-op sponge filter. So lots of filtration and lots of water changes. I'm doing water changes in this aquarium about every 3 to 4 days. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to move the peacocks downstairs and not just move the Oscar into this tank and make this another Oscar aquarium is because with the peacocks, because I do overstock, it does require a little bit more maintenance, and it's a lot easier for me to do water changes and maintain the tanks down here in this room because everything's really central and it's very easy for me to drain water and fill water versus doing it in the living room where that tank won't need as much now because it's just the 1 Oscar and 1 pleco in that tank. I might add some other fish in the future, but for now we're going to leave it be and just let him chill in there. Now, with overstocking, and I've talked about this before, again, having more fish can be beneficial. So think about if there's a bully in the playground and maybe there's like 5 or 6 kids in that playground and that bully sees like 1 kid. It's very easy for that bully to kind of go after that same kid over and over and pick on that kid. Don't bully people. But let's say that that same bully is in a larger playground or in the same size playground, but there's like 100 kids all over the place, and those kids are running all over and chasing each other. It's harder for that bully to kind of pinpoint one kid and give that kid a hard time because there's so much other stuff happening, kids running all around. It's hard for that one bully in that playground to pick on that kid. So anyway, kind of the same idea. Now, this is a lot to cover in this one video, but I kind of wanted to tie it all together. Now, we talked about the other Mbuna tank, which is over here, which I'll take some B-roll of and show you guys, with the my Malawi Mbuna tank over here, the 75-gallon tank, and the issue that I had with my most aggressive African cichlid falling down the ladder as far as the hierarchy is concerned and getting kind of beat up as well. That fish was in quarantine in its own little rescue 10-gallon tank for a while. It recovered, it's fine, and I reintroduced that fish back into the Mbuna tank. Now, I've been observing it for probably, I think it's about 8 or 9 days now since I've put that fish back in there, and it's been fine. I haven't had any issues with aggression. There's still aggression in that tank, and that fish is no longer the alpha male. It's definitely down on the hierarchy ranks, but no longer beat up, no longer injured, swimming fine, eating fine. And what I did in that aquarium is very much what I've talked about in other videos as well. When you add African cichlids into an aquarium, how do you do it? I'll put a link of it up here if I can find it, but I'll link it up here. But you can also go into my my African cichlid playlist, and it's in there somewhere as well. But anyway, when you add African cichlids back into an aquarium that's already established, you want to do a couple of things. You want to kind of disrupt the harmony of the tank as it was, and also do a water change. So what I did is I did a big water change, and while the tank was drained, like I did a 75% water change or so, I moved some decorations around, I moved some rocks around a little bit, not a tremendous amount, but enough to kind of make things look a little bit different in there. And then as I was refilling with fresh water, I put that rehabilitated fish back into that tank and refilled the tank. So then when the tank was full, the hierarchy is still kind of there, but the decorations have been moved around. There's a little bit of uncertainty, and it was easier for that fish to kind of blend into kind of the overall inhabitants of the tank, because it wasn't like, hey, here's this new guy all of a sudden. It was like, hey, it's chaotic, and oh, is that so-and-so? Maybe. But anyway, he's doing fine, and still have aggression in that tank, but that's just something that happens when you have large Mbuna. Now that kind of brings us back to this tank behind me, this 125-gallon tank with my 2 Oscars now, and I have 1 less fish in there, or 2 less fish, because I also took my pleco out and I put that pleco upstairs in the 75-gallon. So I have 2 less fish in this aquarium. It looks kind of bare because of the decor, and just that I have the 2 Oscars there, and I have some catfish that kind of hide in the corner all the time because the Oscars are bullying them. So I'm sitting out as catfish, and I actually have a loach in there too. So I'm thinking about what I could add to this aquarium to make it look more lively, but also have fish in there that aren't necessarily going to be an issue for the Oscar. So I'm thinking it has to be something that's fast moving, something that's kind of schooling, and kind of like a dither fish as an example. So a dither fish is fish that you would put in an aquarium to make other fish feel safe, because, you know, let's say that you have a fish that hides all the time, and if they see like other fish swimming around in a school, they think, oh, it's safe for me to come out of my hiding spot because there are other fish swimming around and there aren't predators, so it's safe for me to go out. Oftentimes that's what we use dither fish for, or it could be a reason for having fish kind of fill up and occupy space in a tank to curb aggression as well, to kind of be like a distraction. And but for me, I kind of want to have something in there that makes it more aesthetically pleasing, because it's kind of boring to me just to have these 2 Oscars in there right now and not a whole lot else. So I don't know if I should maybe add like a school of like silver dollars as an example, or maybe if I should kind of go in this direction and start adding different South American cichlids to kind of no more Oscars, but other types of cichlids in there. But then I might just have a battle royale, and maybe that's not a good idea. So down below in the comments, because all of you are smarter than me, collectively or individually maybe, but all of you are smarter than me. So down below in the comments, please type what you think I should do with this tank. I I do want to keep my Oscars in here. I love my Oscars, so I'm not going to get rid of them. I don't believe in that. But I do want to change it up a little bit and make it more pleasing for me to sit here and enjoy, and also share with all of you. So comment down below what you think should go in this tank. Now I know I shared a lot today. I talked about moving the Oscar and aggressive African cichlids and all of that, but I wanted to kind of share and give you guys kind of an update. It's been a while since I've had an update of this fish room. I don't know, should I call it a fish room? Should I call it a aquarium studio? People use the term gallery, and I don't want to kind of jump on that bandwagon, but I don't know what you guys think I should call this room. But if you have any ideas, keep calling it a fish room, I don't know. But anyway, comment down below what you think I should do with this tank. Comment down below what you think I should name this room, if I should name it anything or it's just a room. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.